morning, my dear friends. And as part of my seminars practices, okay, today I would like to take a class on cognitive behavior therapy. So today's my topic, okay, today's my topic is cognitive behavior therapy, CBT. Okay, cognitive behavior therapy. So cognitive behavior therapy, cognitions in the sense it's related to the thinking process. Okay, it's completely related to the thinking process. Means what we think, same we do. What we do, same we feel. So what we feel, same will behave. Okay, so the completely based, our behavior is completely based on our thinking capacity and thinking process. So cognitive behavior therapy, the first would like to explain about introduction of the cognitive behavior therapy. See here, the introduction is a cognitive therapy is a relatively new mode of short-term psychotherapy. So here the cognitive behavior therapy is a new mode or new method of a short-term psychotherapy. Okay, it is developed for treatment of depression and anxiety, is now widely applied to a broad range of mental disorders. So it is mainly developed, this cognitive behavior therapy developed for a treatment of depression as well as the treatment for anxiety. But nowadays the people mostly they were using this cognitive behavior therapy to treat all the mental disorders. Okay, it is based on the premise that our moods and feelings are influenced by our thoughts. So it is completely based on the premise in the sense that may be a statement or that may be a theory. Okay, based on the theory, okay, based on the cognitive therapy, okay, our moods, okay, our feelings which are influenced by our, that only how we thought, how we think, same thing will feel, same thing will do. So completely our moods and feelings are completely influenced by the our thoughts. Okay, so the next, to improve patients ability to function in the world. So these cognitive behavior therapy also which may improve the patients abilities. Okay, it may improve the patient's ability to function in the world. Okay, then by correcting the distorted ways of thinking, the cognitive therapist restructures the patient's views of themselves, the world and the future. Here the like distorted means pulling the out of shape. So there are distorted means there are no shape for, or there is no like meaning for the thoughts. Okay, sometimes the patients may have the thinkings that there is no meaning, the simply they will think unwanted things and all. So that is the way to correct all the distorted thinkings. Okay, to correct the distorted thinkings, the always the cognitive therapist, who is the cognitive therapist, who is providing or who will provide the cognitive behavior therapy to the patient, them will call as cognitive therapist. Here the cognitive therapist always he will restructure the patient's views of themselves. Okay, the cognitive therapist always what they will do, they will restructure the patient's views of themselves as well as the patient's views of the world, patient views of the future. Okay, three things you should remember: patient views of themselves, and they should have their own awareness of their views, and patient's views of the world, patient's views of the future. So by correcting, how they will restructure the patient's views means by correcting the distorted thinkings. By correcting the distorted thinkings, the cognitive therapist may restructure the patient's views of themselves, patient's views of the world, patient's views of the future. Then the more realistic thoughts are, okay, there are the more like realistic thoughts are substituted to reduce painful feelings such as anxiety, guilt and hopelessness. Here like there are the realistic thoughts. What are the realistic thoughts? These realistic thoughts may help the patients to bring out all the awareness to our thoughts. So when they are thinking something in their mind, they are supposed to be aware of that thinkings. Okay, so that is the way realistic thoughts, in the sense these thoughts may help the patients to bring out or bring the awareness to their thoughts. That are the realistic thoughts. They will have they'll have a aware to their thoughts. Okay, that is realistic thoughts. So here these realistic thoughts are substituted, okay, to reduce. Why these realistic thoughts should helpful means to reduce the painful feelings such as anxiety, guilt and hopelessness. Okay, to reduce these painful situations or painful feelings such as anxiety, guilt and hopeless, so the realistic thoughts should be the substituted. Then These are the introduction about the cognitive behavior therapy, CBT. Now we'll move on to the definition of the cognitive behavior therapy. Here comes the definition comes like this: a cognitive therapy is a psychotherapy. Okay, cognitive therapy is a short term psychotherapy. Completely the short term psychotherapy, the psychotherapy approach is based on the idea that behavior is secondary to thinking. Okay, so here what is the cognitive therapy means, so the patient what he have a idea or what he have a thought in his mind, same thing he will do, or say, what he do that comes under completely based on his behavior. Okay, what he is doing in really, okay, that is completely based on the thought. Okay, his thought, okay, thought which is make the patients to do what he do, he will feel the same thing. That's what they given in diagrammatic figure. Okay, what you think, what you do, how you feel, these are the three areas. Okay, you should remember in the cognitive behavior therapy, the first you should think in your mind. Okay, then if you think, you'll do the same thing. Okay, then if you do the thing, you will feel. Okay, like you take one example. Let me give one example for this. Is for example, you want to eat biryani today. Okay, you'll first what you'll do, you'll think in your mind. So you think in your mind that you want to eat biryani today. So what you'll do, if you want to eat biryani, where you supposed to go? You're supposed to go to the, like, if not, you'll order in the hotel. Okay, so you think that you want to eat biryani, you did, how you did means you ordered in the hotel. So you feel, so after ordering, you'll get your parcel and you'll have sufficiently and you'll have some satisfaction. That is feel. Okay, so you think, you do, you feel. These are the three areas you're supposed to uh, remember in the cognitive behavior therapy. Other examples also, let me tell other example. Okay, like we'll have some of the peoples may have the some different thinkings. Okay, based on the thinkings, they will do the same thing. Okay, when the patient is behaving something, okay, based on their thinking capacity only he will do. Okay, there are the fundamental assumptions are there for behavior therapy, cognitive behavior therapy. Fundamental assumptions are: it is based on the premise that the way a person perceives an event rather than the event itself determines its relevance and the response to it. The first fundamental assumption is for cognitive behavior therapy is, it is completely based on the theory that the way of a person perceives. See, first, so, okay, before entering to a event, okay, before experiencing an event or before attending an event, first he will perceive in his mind. Okay, a person perceives about a particular event before, okay, rather than the event itself, rather than the attending, rather than the going into the event. Okay, first he will perceive, the person perceives in his mind, means first he will think in his mind. That may shows, or that may determine the patient's relevance, and that may determine the patient response. Okay, before attending particular event, before going on through a particular event, he will perceive in his mind about the particular event. So that may shows, or that may give some determinations about the relevance as well as the response to a particular event. That is the first assumption. The next one is, it is time limited. Okay, it is time limited and attempting to cause change rapidly and often within an established time frame. Here the next fundamental assumption for cognitive behavior therapy is, it is a time limited. Okay, time limited and attempting to see, when we are giving these cognitive behavior therapy to the patients, rapidly we can see the changes in the patient behavior, patient thoughts. Okay, rapid changes may occur, and we can establish a time frame. Okay, what do you mean by time? Means sharp or pointed frames. Okay, we can establish the sharp frames by using this cognitive behavior therapy. The next assumption is, a therapeutic change can be affected through an alteration of idiopathic dysfunctional modes of thinking leading to cognitive change. Here the therapeutic changes, okay, treatment change. Okay, when we are providing cognitive CBT ability to the patients that may be affected through the alterations of idiopathic. Idiopathic means unknown. Okay, there will be alterations of unknown thoughts. Okay, then we'll have some dysfunctional modes of thinking, alterations of idiopathic thinkings, alterations of dysfunctional modes, which leads to cognitive changes. When alterations occur in the unknown thoughts, when the alterations occur in the dysfunctional modes, which leads to changes in the cognitive process or changes in the thinking process. The therapies, the continuation of fundamental assumptions. These therapies are based on the patient, based on the belief that patients are the architects of their own misfortunes and have control over their thoughts. Okay, these therapies, these cognitive behavior therapies are based on the, completely based on the belief. Okay, based on the belief that, what is the belief means here, the patients are the architects. Architects means they will build their thoughts. Okay, they will build the design, they will design for buildings. Okay, they'll have their designated thoughts. Okay, they will the thoughts which are designed by the patient, that will called as architects. Architects of their own misfortunes means unfortunate for a event or condition. Unfortunately they will design, or unfortunately they will build some designated thoughts in their mind. Understood? Architects means designated thoughts, misfortunes means unfortunate event or unfortunate thoughts or unfortunate conditions. Here we are talking about the cognition, right? So they will have the unfortunate cognitions which are designed or built up by the patient. Okay, so these type of thoughts, if the patient is having, will have a control over these type of thoughts as well as the actions. If he thoughts, he will in reality he will play actions. Okay, that is the way. So when the patient is having architects or a misfortune thoughts and all, so while providing this therapy, they will have a control over these type of thoughts as well as these type of actions. Okay, this is the next assumption. The next assumption, one more assumption is, they also help the patients to learn something about the process of therapy and develop therapeutic skills applicable to other problems. So here this cognitive behavior therapy also will help the patients to learn something about the process. Okay, which may help the not only control these type of thoughts, but also it may help the patients to learn something about the process as well as the process of the cognitive therapy, as well as the even the patients may develop some therapeutic skills which applicable to the not only about the cognition, even he can, but also he can develop some therapeutic skills to apply in other health problems also. Okay, the next continuation of assumptions, it aims at altering cognitions for affecting a change behavior. The main aim for this assumption, the main for cognitive assumption is cognitive behavior therapy is it altering the cognitions. It may change the cognitions, it may change the thoughts of the patients which are affected in a change in a behavior. So when he is having a alterations, automatically the patient's behavior also might be changes. So always these may focus on the altering the cognitions if that is related to the maladaptives, so that may affect on the change in the patient's behavior. Okay, it implies that all psychiatric disorders have some amount of cognition, and improvement in this enhance the patient's recovery. Even we should believe that. So all the psychiatric disorder patients, so if you take any OCD, if you take any phobias, if you take any schizophrenia, depression, mania, okay, any like delirium, dementia, okay, if you will take any Alzheimer's withdrawal syndromes, okay, the first and foremost thing is cognition. In all the psychiatric disorder patients may have a alterations in the cognition. Okay, so based on these psychiatric disorders, even we have there are all the psychiatric disorders having the some amount of cognition. Okay, that is the way we need to, by using this cognitive behavior therapy, by using this therapy, we can improve the patient's recovery also by changing the patient thoughts process. Okay, by changing the patient's thought process, we can improve or we can recover the patients from their psychiatric problem. Okay, that these all are the fundamental assumptions of the patient fundamental assumptions of the cognitive behavior therapy. Next we'll move on to the duration of cognitive therapy. Okay, what is the duration? How much time we can spend with a patient, or how much time we can keep this cognitive therapy? Means a typical cognitive therapy schedule consists of about 15 visits over a 3 month of period. 3 month of period we'll have for cognitive behavior therapy. Within these 3 months the patient is supposed to visit 15 times. Okay, 15 times is supposed to visit in a 3 month of period. Okay, that is the duration of cognitive behavior therapy. The next we'll move on to the what are the indications. Okay, indications for the cognitive behavior therapy. Indications in the sense in which conditions or which areas in when we can provide these cognitive therapy to the patients, in which areas we can provide the cognitive behavior therapy to the patients. The first one is if the patient is suffering from the depression, we can provide this therapy. If the patient is suffering from anxiety disorder, if the patient is suffering from panic disorder, if the patient is suffering from different types of phobias, if the patient is suffering from anticipatory anxiety, okay, these are the disease disorders. Okay, in these all the problems we can provide a cognitive behavior therapy to the patients. And even not only that, even teaching problem solving methods when they are unable to solve their problems, when they are affected. Okay, when he is not able to solve a critical problems, in those areas also we can use a cognitive behavior therapy to the patients to teach a new methods. Okay, even some centers also use cognitive behavior therapy or CBT for management of psychotic symptoms such as delusions as well as the hallucinations. Okay, not only treat all the like disorders of the psychiatric which related to the psychiatric, but also we can use as a teaching method. Even we can use these method, we can use these cognitive behavior therapy to treat the patients, those who are suffering with the psychotic symptoms such as delusions and hallucinations. If the patient is having hallucinations as well as the delusions, for them also we can provide cognitive behavior therapy. Okay, what are the techniques which are involved in the cognitive behavior therapy? Okay, here we'll move on to the techniques which may helpful for the cognitive behavior therapy. There are the four main groups of cognitive techniques are there. Four main groups of cognitive techniques are there. Okay, the first one is techniques for stopping intrusive cognitions. The second one is techniques to counterbalance faulty cognitions. The third one is techniques for altering cognition. The fourth one is techniques to resolve a problem directly. Here the first technique is the technique for stopping intrusive cognitions. Okay, what do you mean by intrusive? Intrusive means there will be a disruption occurs which with unwanted thoughts. Okay, intrusive means there will be a disruption occur with the unwanted thoughts. When the patient is thinking unwanted thoughts, okay, when the patient is having unwanted thoughts which is not at all useful for him or it is not at all useful for others. Okay, so when he is having a unwanted thoughts, okay, automatically the patients may have a disturbances or disruption may occur. So intrusive thoughts means whichever the thoughts which are unwanted. Okay, so if we have a unwanted thoughts, automatically there will be a disruption occur in his behavior. So that is the what to stop that intrusive thoughts or to stop the intrusive cognitions, we'll use one technique. The techniques to counterbalance faulty cognitions. Faulty means wrong cognitions, wrong thoughts are negative thoughts. Okay, so if the patient is having faulty cognitions or wrong thoughts or wrong thoughts, if he is wrong thoughts, automatically he will behave in a wrong way. So that is the way to counter. We need to balance the thoughts, negative thoughts. We need to balance the wrong thoughts or negative thoughts. We will use one technique. The techniques for altering cognitions. Okay, the same. If any alterations are occurring in his thoughts, okay, in his thoughts, we will use one more technique to altering the cognitions and resolve the problem directly. We can, if the problems are occurring by these type of thoughts, any changes in the thoughts that is creating the problem for the patients, even he is unable to take a decisions over the problem, he is unable to solve the problem, there we can use some techniques to resolve the problems directly. These are the four techniques which may helpful in the cognitive behavior therapy. Okay, the first step, we'll move on to the first step. The first step is techniques for stopping intrusive cognition. Okay, here this is the step Okay, first step to stop intrusive cognition. These methods aims at stopping intruding thoughts through distraction. Okay, here we need to distract the unwanted thoughts. You see, simply he is sitting and he is thinking unwanted thoughts. Okay, when he is getting unwanted thoughts, automatically he is disturbing and his behavior also has been changed. Okay, so to stop that intrusive thoughts and all, we need to give some activities, or we need to change his behavior to divert his mind, to divert his thoughts. We need to give some activities that activities may alter the patient cognitions. Okay, alteration is directed to another mental act, like doing mental arithmetic or copying a figure. Like you think, like pseudo. See, pseudo, what is the arithmetic? We need to find out the, we need to put a 1 to 10, we need, there are the many columns they'll give. Pseudo, all of you know the pseudo. It is completely related to the mental capacity of the patient's IQ level, to improve the mental IQ levels in the people. Pseudo. So, pseudo, the type of, one type of activities we need to give to the patient. The puzzles, okay, related to the word puzzles or numbers puzzles. Pseudo is the best examples for arithmetic. Arithmetic in the sense, we need to give some sort of numerical values or numbers or for calculations. Okay, that arithmetic activities we need to give for the patients. So say that may improve the mental capacity, that may improve the patient's good thoughts. Okay, that is the way we need to give a pseudo puzzle for them. If we need to ask them to solve that pseudo puzzle. Okay, that thereby we can stop intrusive thoughts. And copying a figure, we need to put one figure in front of the patient, the same figure he need to copy. Okay, same as it is he need to draw. That also one type of activity. Thereby we can divert his thoughts, we can alter his bad thoughts, unwanted thoughts, and he can have a good thoughts. That is the one of the technique to stop intrusive cognitions. The next one is technique is techniques of cognitive behavior. Okay, sorry. Next one is techniques to counterbalance faulty cognitions. Okay, so to counter, we need to balance. Okay, we need to give counterbalance to faulty or negative or wrong thoughts. So here these involves counterbalancing, intruding cognitions and the emotions provoked by them with another thought. Okay, here they give an example, like when an anxious patient with chest pain becomes apprehensive thinking that he has a heart problem, he may be trying to think it is only a muscular pain and does not relate to the heart. Here the counterbalance the faulty cognition means when the patient is having wrong, or when the patient is having negative thoughts. Okay, completely negative thoughts are wrong thoughts. Okay, for them we need to balance. Okay, that thoughts we need to balance by giving some counseling, by giving some teaching, or by giving some training to the patients. We can counterbalance the faulty cognitions. Like, see, for example, a patient is a anxious patient. Anxious patients means, see, most of the people, if you think so, there are the many of the people, for small issues also they'll get so much anxious, they will feel anxious, they'll get fear. Okay, for small issues, the small events. Okay, if something is going on wrong, okay, so they will feel very anxious. Okay, so those patients, if they are feeling with small incident also, if they are feeling so much anxious, that patients, if the anxious patient, if the anxious patient is suffering from the chest pain, okay, automatically he may think that, he may have a negative thinking that, yeah, I'm having heart problem. If I'm having heart problem, directly I may get MI, myocardial infarction. If not, I may get heart attack. Okay, other health problems, I may die. Okay, these, he will feel more anxious. Already he is anxious patient. If he is having a severe chest pain, automatically his mind may says that he will already anxious, right? So he is negative minded. Okay, negative thought, he will have a negative thought, he is suffering from the heart problem. So as a therapist, okay, as a therapist, we need to train the patient that is not at all related to the heart, it is completely related to the muscular pain. That is only the muscular pain. Okay, not only in the chest, even in your legs or arms also you may have a severe pain. Don't worry about that chest pain, that is not at all related to the heart, it is completely related to the muscular pain. So thereby somewhat we can decrease the negative mind, we can balance the patient with faulty cognitions. Okay, So these are the examples. Okay, when the patient is suffering with if the anxious patient is suffering with the chest pain, he may think that that is the heart problem. So as a therapist, we need to train the patient. It is not at all related to the heart, it is completely related to the muscular pain. Muscular pain is the common for everyone. We can prevent that muscular pain by using medications or by using another alternative method. So when we are educating the patient, when we are training the patients by using these type of balances and all, even we can prevent the faulty cognitions in the patient. This is the second technique. Okay, this is the second technique of counterbalance the faulty cognitions. The next one is techniques for altering cognitions. Okay, here this is the techniques for altering cognitions. Altering cognitions means change. We should change the cognitions if that is the wrong, if that is the negative thoughts, if that is the unwanted thoughts. Okay, that all are the thoughts are disturbing him. Okay, so that thoughts we need to change from the patient. So here these are aimed at changing the nature of cognitions. Okay, the aim for altering cognitions means we need to change nature of the cognition, nature of the thoughts. The patient is helped to identify maladaptive cognitions and their logical errors. Here, okay, in the technique, the next technique, techniques for altering cognitions, here we need to change, or we need to alter the nature of the cognition. We need to change the patient nature of the thinking capacity here. So these therapy, these technique may helpful to the therapist to identify the patient maladaptive cognitions. Okay, to maladaptive cognitions means which is not at all useful for the patients. Okay, so that we need to, by using these technique, we can identify the maladaptive cognitions as well as their logical errors also. If they are having a maladaptive ideas or maladaptive things, automatically there will be a, if they want to do something, automatically there is a errors may be happen. So when the patient is having maladaptive cognitions, when the patient is having maladaptive thinkings, okay, which gives a punishment or which gives a errors to the patients, okay, automatically when he do, automatically that may give a logical errors. Okay, to decrease these and all, will have some, like, to decrease these type of changes, we will use a alternating cognitions. Okay, some errors which are not mutually exclusive and which occur in depression are given below. So some errors, okay, some logical errors by like maladaptive cognitions, some logical errors which are not mutually exclusive. Sometimes these logical errors may occur in the depression patients. Okay, those who are suffering with the depression, in them we can see some logical errors. Like, if the patient is suffering with the depression, he may have a logical errors in maladaptive cognition, like which are related to the faulty inference and over generalization, magnification or minimization, and are unrealistic assumptions. Okay, here the first, in the depression we may find these all type of errors. Okay, these are the errors. Okay, due to maladaptive cognitions, the patients may have these type of errors. Okay, so the first one is faulty inference. What do you mean by faulty inference? Faulty inference means when you come up with a false conclusion. So see, based on a valid evidence. Okay, based on the valid evidence, when you come up with a false conclusion, we'll call as faulty inference. Means, like here, for example, let me give one example. Like, if you hear a person is weight is 250 pounds. Okay, if the patient weight is 250 pounds, you may have you might make that inference that they are a overweight. Okay, you will make a wrong inference, or you will make a false inference that he is a overweight. Actually 250 pounds is not at all overweight. Okay, so already the patient is not a overweight, but you will have a false conclusion. Okay, by hearing that, you may think that he is a overweight. Okay, that is the things are false inference. Means when the patient is come with a false conclusions based on a valid evidence. Already valid evidence is there, he is not a overweight, but still you will have a false conclusions. Okay, false inference, you will have a wrong inference on a particular valid evidence. Okay, on the valid evidence you will have a wrong conclusion or false conclusion. That is comes under a faulty inference. This also we may find in the depression patients. The next one is overgeneralization. Overgeneralization also may occur in the patients when the patient is having a maladaptive cognitions. Okay, so for them overgeneralization means excessively generalization. Excessively we will generalize the patients, like we'll find all the faults, like when we are having a good conversation, serious conversation, okay, suddenly you will point out the patient, your pronunciation is good, your pronunciation is not good, you are having a grammatical mistakes, and you are having a you are not talk, your slang is not good. Okay, we'll point out the patient always. Okay, means over generalization, excessive generalization. This also may happen due to maladaptive cognitions. Okay, the next one is magnification. What do you mean by magnification? Magnification here in the sense like this, actually this magnification in the sense it is making looks bigger than as it is. Okay, means it is a small thing, small issue, but we'll make it bigger. Okay, most of the peoples may do this thing same. Okay, so magnification in the sense actually that is the small issue, but we'll look it a bigger one. Okay, small one, actually that is the small thing, but we'll create as a bigger, we'll look as a bigger, we'll think it as a bigger. Okay, so that is the magnification. Okay, means when it is a small, we'll create or we'll look as a, or we'll think as a bigger. Okay, the next one is unrealistic assumptions. Unrealistic assumptions in the sense this is a wrong idea, wrong thinking. Unrealistic means like it is not at all wrong, or it is a wrong, or it is a wrong idea, wrong thinking they may have. Okay, that also one of the maladaptive cognitions. These are the four we can found in the depression patients. Okay, these are the four. These are the technique under second technique under alterations in the patient, alterations in the patient's cognitions. Okay, the next one is third one is techniques to resolve problems directly. Okay, how can resolve the problem when the patient is not able to solve his problems, when we cannot, when the patient is not able to take a decisions based on the problem, so there we can use this technique to resolve directly. This involves several steps and consist. Okay, when the problem occur to the patient, okay, any type of problem, if the problem occur to the patients, when he is unable to resolve, these technique may helpful to the patients to resolve directly. Okay, so like they given the steps consist of resolve the problem directly. The first step is we need to define the problem more clearly. As a therapist, we need to define about the problem to the patient clearly and completely. That also may helpful to the resolve the problem. If you know clear about a particular, if you have a clear, a complete knowledge about a particular problem, even he can resolve easily. Okay, then the next step is dividing it into small sub problem which can be better managed. Here again, whichever the problem he is facing, that problem we need to divide it into sub problems, sub problems. Okay, small sub problems. Okay, one big problem we need to divide into, or we need to break it into small sub problems. Okay, that is very easy to overcome. Okay, so that also can be managed better when we are dividing that big problem into a small subdivisions. That may be helpful the patients to manage very rapidly or very directly. Okay, then finding out an alternate methods of solving each problems. Okay, so okay, even if he is not at all he is not at all he is not able to he is not able to solve a particular problem, even we need to find some alternative methods also, how to control, how to overcome particular problems, how to take decisions when the problems occur. So we need to find some alternative methods also to solve the each problems, and considering the merits and demerits of each methods. When we are finding all alternative methods to solve the problems, even we need to consider some merits as well as the demerits, means advantages and disadvantages on particular method of alternative process. Okay, here merits and demerits also we need to explain to the patients. Okay, the selecting the method, one method which is the most advantageous to at their instance. Okay, here we need to find the patients. Okay, we need to select the which is more advantage. Even we need to explain the patient's merits and demerits of the method, alternative method to solve the problems, and we need to select which is more advantageous to the patient, that we need to select, and we need to uh, ask the patient to use that method. Okay, the therapy process, these are the 4 techniques which may helpful in the patients to solve their problems, and these 4 techniques may help the patients to like decrease the psychiatric problems or decrease the symptoms of the psychiatric disorders. Okay, even the next one is therapy process. The therapy process, the therapy is result oriented and defines goals, so that process progress towards them can be monitored. Here the therapy is result oriented. Okay, completely the therapy is a result oriented, goal oriented. Okay, so thereby, so that if that is a goal oriented or result oriented, this cognitive behavior therapy, it is if it is a therapy oriented, goal oriented or result oriented, means so that the progress or the process can towards them can be monitored. Even we can monitor if we are having a goal to achieve or to solve the patient problem by using these techniques, by using cognitive therapy. If you are having some sort of goals, even we can monitor easily. And the therapist is a coach and teacher of the patient's learning new skills. Here the therapist is supposed to play a role as a coach, he is supposed to play a role as a teacher. Okay, so that may the if a teacher teaches, the students can learn new skills, right? So they may learn some new skills. Here also the therapist, when he is providing a cognitive behavior therapy to the patient, the patient also may learn some new skills from the patient, from the therapist. The therapist may help the patients to identify situations in which thoughts and actions occur and then assist with the development of alternate. Even the therapist also is providing the therapy which may help the patients to identify situations. Okay, when the patient is providing therapy, the therapist may help the patient identify situations in which thoughts and actions occur and the assist with the development of. Even the patients can identify the situations, even we can identify the thoughts of the patient and their actions also, and we can assist the development of alternative. We can assist the patients to develop alternative thoughts or alternative methods to decrease that faulty cognitions. Its overall goal is to increase self-efficacy and proficiency. Okay, even what is the overall goal? In the sense, we can improve the patient's self-awareness and proficiency, and we can increase the patient's self-control over the patient. Okay, self-control over the negative thoughts or faulty thoughts or unwanted thoughts. Okay, and he can we need to encourage the patients to participate actively in the therapy, and we can be committed to the decisions for change. Even he can take some decisions based on the thoughts or based on the alternative changes in his thought. Okay, he can take some decisions, he may commit some decisions. The patient therapist interaction is a goal oriented collaborative partnership with beginning, middle and end. So always these cognitive behavior therapy should be a should have a here the patient as well as the therapist should have a good interaction between these both, between the patient as well as the therapist. They should have a good interaction, good communication, and that interaction or communication is completely based on the goal oriented, and they supposed to have a collaborative partnership and with collaborative partnership with beginning starting the therapy as well as the middle of the therapy as well as the end of the therapy, because this is the 3-month session, right? Within 3 months 15 times he should visit. So in the 15 times 3 months of period, 15 times whenever he comes, whenever he is going on through this therapy, he should in the beginning, in the middle and in the end they should have a both patient as well as therapist should have a good interaction, good communication and good partnership. There only we can have a effective therapy, success in the therapy. Okay, now I am summarizing my topic. Okay, here we have cognitive behavior therapy content like introduction, definition, fundamental assumption, duration of cognitive therapy, indications of cognitive therapy, techniques of cognitive behavior therapy process. Also introduction we have seen, and definition we have seen, fundamental assumptions we have seen, and duration of cognitive therapy, indications we have seen, techniques which are useful for the behavior therapy. The techniques, first technique is techniques for stopping intrusive cognition, techniques to counterbalance faulty cognitions, techniques for altering cognitions, and techniques for resolve the problems directly, and therapy process. Okay, this is about cognitive behavior therapy. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.